welcome at Ijoma Onyato tonight. Senate asks acting president to produce within 2 weeks the financial status of 34 revenue collecting agencies, excluding the CBN and the NNPC. More trouble for the PD. Another lawmaker defects from the party to the APC at the National Assembly. More attacks by suspected Fulani herdsmen leave scores dead in villages in 3 local government areas of Taraba State. And Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir accused of genocide to attend summit with Donald Trump in Saudi Arabia.
On business news tonight, Nigeria refines 10 million barrels of crude in the first quarter of the year, success attributed to the peace in the Niger Delta region.
While on sports news, Watford confirms exit of Italian tactician Walter Mazzarri at the end of the season.
And from Abuja, the trial of former National Security Advisor Colonel Sambo Dasuki stalled again as judge warns the DSS to stop treating the matter with levity.
The Senate has given the Presidency a 2-week ultimatum to submit the budgets of 34 government agencies to the National Assembly in accordance with the provision of the Fiscal Responsibility Act. Agencies that have not submitted budget proposals have also been directed by the upper chamber to stop further capital expenditure until their budgets are submitted to the National Assembly. Our correspondent Linda Akibe reports.
On electronic transaction.
It's a motion widely supported by these lawmakers. They are condemning the practice where government agencies refuse to submit budget proposals to the National Assembly but spend monies not appropriated by Parliament. Their disapproval is coming days after the National Assembly passed a 7.44 trillion naira 2017 budget. However, the budget proposals of the erring government agencies are not included in the national budget. The Senate released a list of 34 government agencies who have not submitted their budget proposals to the National Assembly. Some of them are the Bureau of Public Enterprises, Nigerian Shippers Council, National Sugar Development Council, Nigerian Ports Authority, Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, Securities and Exchange Commission, National Communications Commission, National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, Nigerian Customs Service, and Federal Inland Revenue Service.
Senate knows that Section 21(1).
Senator Bala Ibn Nala, who brought the matter to the attention of the Senate, says the only approach the Senate can take to assist government in fighting corruption is to insist that gross abuse of power must be stopped by every government agency. Other lawmakers also contributed to the debate.
The Senate observes that non-compliance with the provision of the Fiscal Responsibility Act constitutes abuse of power and economic sabotage aimed at frustrating the current economic measures being taken by the present administration to address the economic recession.
Mr. President, if I don't even know of any agency, I can confirm to this setting that the budget of NNPC is in trillions of naira. And at the end of every year of that budget, NNPC will always declare losses. It's a deliberate attempt. And they will build this expenditure on this budget to the extent that there is no way you can pinpoint where these funds have gone into.
I recall, Mr. President, that in 2016, our President, General Muhammad Buhari, in 2016, sent to this National Assembly the appropriation act for that year, together with those estimates. So at a loss, why in 2017 the ministers found it impossible to accompany the same appropriation act of 2017 with those estimates of the agencies under them.
After the debate, the Senate asked the President to submit the budget proposals of the 38 government agencies to the National Assembly and also directed the agencies to immediately stop spending capital expenditure until they comply with the Fiscal Responsibility Act. Linda Akibe, Channels Television News.
An advance copy of the 2017 budget may have been received by the Minister of Budget and National Planning, but it has not yet been formally presented to the executive. And that's according to the Information Minister, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, who was fielding questions from State House correspondents at the Federal Executive Council meeting today. The Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewale, also disclosed that the government has stepped up border surveillance to prevent a resurgence of the deadly Ebola virus. Our correspondent Gloria Umezoke reports.
To come out of the economic recession.
Less than 1 week after the 2017 budget was passed by the National Assembly, the Presidency says it is yet to formally receive it. The Minister of Information, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, told a news conference after the Federal Executive Council weekly meeting that although the Minister of Budget has an advance copy,
the Minister of National Planning has got an advance copy of what was passed, and that is what we need to look at and see whether it's it's what, if anybody has any issues or any problems about it. That is what I'm talking about. It's not been transmitted officially to the Presidency.
The Minister of Information also told journalists that there is no final decision on who will sign the 2017 budget.
When it is submitted to the Presidency, that decision will be taken.
Surveillance activities in the meantime has been beefed up to intensify inward screening of passengers into the country at both land and sea ports.
We've constituted an Ebola preparedness working group chaired by Dr. Obasanjo, who actually led the Nigerian contingent to Liberia for the Ebola control program. We've constituted an Ebola preparedness working group chaired by Dr. Obasanjo, who actually led the Nigerian contingent to Liberia for the Ebola control program. So we are quite happy about what is ongoing. We've also improved and revamped the level of activities at some of our central laboratories so that they have reagents to be able to make diagnosis on the spot.
The minister says no additional fund has been committed to the exercise, but gave full assurance of holistically addressing the menace. Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
Well, the Information Minister may not be too sure, but the Senior Special Assistant to the President on National Assembly Matters, Mr. Ita Enang, might have an answer, as he said on our program Politics Today that someone will be assenting to the 2017 budget, given the President's absence. He says President Muhammadu Buhari will sign the budget and then transmit it to the acting President for other formalities to take place.
It will be transmitted to Mr. President, and the President will assent to the budget. The acting President is in office, and when the budget is transmitted, it will go through the processes, and all those other questions will answer itself.
And the Plateau State Governor Simon Lalong is predicting that more politicians may defect from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress before the end of the year. And this follows the defection of a Plateau State lawmaker in the House of Representatives, Edward Bajok, from the PDP to the APC. Representative Bajok says his decision to switch loyalties is due to the factionalization of the PDP, a claim the House Minority Leader rejects. Our correspondent Larry Lassisi reports.
Lawmakers in the House of Representatives getting ready to commence legislative activities for the day. However, the Speaker starts with this letter announcing that a member of the opposition party is joining the majority party.
For over a year now, my party has been enmeshed in internecine crisis, which started during the congresses to elect party officials. I hereby renounce my membership of the PDP, and after due consultation with my constituents, I've decided to join the All Progressives Congress APC with effect from today.
The jubilation is cut short as the minority leader raises a point of order. Citing Section 68 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, he says there is no division in the People's Democratic Party.
Court of Appeal did affirm, and you are aware of it, that Sheriff is the chairman of the party. Because as we move from here, we are still going to take him to court. He is not a member of any political party. We will do everything within our possibility to make sure he vacates that seat. And I believe that because there is no faction in the party, it has borders on a major disagreement among us. It's not a room for him to just start leaving the party under the excuse that there is a faction.
This is how the Speaker rules on the matter.
You have told the world the Sheriff is the national chairman of the PDP. I didn't know until today. But one thing that we must bear in mind is the fact that, you rightly put it, the issue of faction in the party is not a matter of law. The Constitution talks about factions. It didn't tell us what factions are. It's a question of fact. So we leave that for the courts to decide. And then we move on. Yes.
This ruling starts off another round of hugs and handshakes with the lawmaker. Also there to witness it all is the governor of Plateau State, Mr. Simon Lalong. Speaking afterwards, the governor says more politicians will be leaving the People's Democratic Party before the end of the year.
We are not saying we want a one-party state, because we also need some kind of opposition to checkmate the ruling party. But I know very well that I'm sure before the end of the year, with the things that the government is doing, both at the federal and the state, we may not have a substantial minority again.
This may just mean that in the days ahead, more lawmakers may be moving from one party to the other, a usual occurrence as the country begins its march towards the 2019 elections. Lanre Lasisi, Channels Television News.
The Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has criticized the recent comments credited to the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, that soldiers should not allow themselves to be used by politicians. The governor says while he supports the idea of soldiers not being used by politicians, the Army Chief cannot distance himself from the matter.
The Chief of Army Staff has said that soldiers should not allow themselves to be used by politicians. I'm fully in support of that. But what I want to let the Chief of Staff know, who are those who are approving battalions to be following these politicians? If they don't want soldiers to be close to politicians, they should stop giving politicians their soldiers. This is the only country I have seen soldiers follow politicians around. It has never happened in any developed country. And so it is not enough. It is not enough. It is not enough for them to say the soldiers should not involve themselves in politics, but they should take further steps to making sure that they stop their soldiers from being security to these politicians.
Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike. In part two, after the break, government says the Federal Capital Territory Light Rail project to be delivered in October. That's in a moment. Do stay with us.